Okay, good morning, good morning. Where are we here? Good morning, good morning. Everything's all changed, all the settings are changed here after the last session. Okay, we're upstairs from the third floor. It was raining just a short time ago, so I didn't have a chance to put the camera right outside, so the camera is inside the balcony. And I have good news and bad news, mostly bad news. And mostly bad news. You can see the outside view, but I think it's going away soon. I know in all the messing around with the cameras the other day when Taran-san was here, we were standing up and moving cameras around and doing this and doing that, and somehow, whatever, the camera got unplugged, so the camera that I'm using for the outside view was left unplugged overnight. No problem, whatever, it ran out of battery, plugged it in this morning, discovered that. It's now physically plugged in, so it's running okay. But it reset itself. So it's gone all back to 0 date, 1972 date, and this and that and this and that. And it's also gone back to its original setting where it turns off automatically if you don't touch it for 10 minutes. I've just spent the last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, going through all the menus and submenus and submenus, trying to find a place that allows you to leave it turned on without touching it. I can't find it. So it's going to turn itself off in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And either I have to go out there and restart it. Maybe I can do that from here, maybe. I've got the plug right here, and maybe after it restarts, if I unplug it and plug it back in, we'll see. If not, I'm out there every 10 minutes. Okay, other than that, it's going to be kind of a chaotic stream today. This is not smooth edition printing. What we're doing here is I got the blocks back for this year's share certificate print, and I have to test print them today. So this is not smooth edition printing, this is futzing around. Getting up, going to get some pigment, bringing it back, testing something, taping it, moving it, getting up, testing it, futzing. So this is not smooth edition printing, this is going to be, screwing around. And we have a problem. There was a communication problem between myself and the carver. I didn't carve these blocks, somebody else did, but we had a communication problem. And the carving is upside down. It's whatever, there's no other way to say it. These share certificates, this is a sample, here's last year's. This is what they look like. It's an inkjet, it's awagami paper, inkjet printed, but of course we print our part, the circle part, the oval part is woodblock printed. And because we need moist paper, it means we have to do our part first, and after we've dried it, it then goes in the inkjet printer. If we inkjet it first and then moisten it, of course, it smears all over the place. Yeah, the paper's out. Sugi-san is right here behind me. I don't want to move the camera around, but Sugi-san is right here behind me, so that's why the mask. Anyway, as I was saying, so the image fits inside the oval. So what we normally do with these, to save wood, rather than use a normal registration mark at the bottom and have the thing up at the top, what we do is we do this what's called atama kento, head kento. We print these with the registration marks at the top. So if we've got it carved here, the registration marks are here, and we print this part, and away we go. We always want to try as much as possible to keep the image close to the registration marks. The farther the image area is away from the registration marks, the more stretch you have and the more trouble you have with the registration. So anyway, as I said, we normally do it like this. I sent the image out to be carved. For example, here's the block that prints the blank circle. And the normal printing would be this way. In it goes, and we print like this. There goes our camera. Let's try this. No luck. Oh, I put the battery inside it. So it's running on battery power. Let me take the battery out of that camera so that it's running just on power. Then maybe we'll be able to get away with this. Hang on a sec. だからもうバッテリーついてますから、コンセント外してもそのままです。だからバッテリーを外せば、
バッテリーね、外せば大丈夫か。
あ、無理。バッテリー外すとコンセント入れてもできない。
できない。
なんだ。
やっぱ入れとかないとダメなんだ。
なんだ。
そこにずっと入れとかないとやっぱりダメなのか。なんでやねん。なんでやねん、なんでやねん。
No, 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 no. So we're hosed. We're hosed.
残念、みんなシーンと心配し始めて
So,
る。
so. No, we're hosed. There's nothing we can do about it. That's it. We can't do that. No, we're dead. We're dead. It turns out if you take the battery out but leave it plugged in, it won't work. It's got to have a plug-in and the battery. Oh well. Anyway, take 5 more minutes and down she goes. I can't keep doing this every 5 minutes. So. One day it's the microphone, the next day it's the camera, the next day it's me. Actually, I can't do that. If I had switched the cameras around, I can't do that because the outside camera, and the reason we're using it for the outside camera, it doesn't have a mic plug. You can't plug a mic into it. So I can't switch the 2 cameras. The one here, I am plugged into the camera that you see right there. If it's not one thing, it's another. So someone's got it. Better living through technology. So we'll just turn off the outside camera. Sorry about that. Focus on the work anyway. Okay. Where were we? So explaining what's going on here today. So when I sent the image out, I just sent it out in a little oval, and the carver saw that, and I didn't make it clear. It's my mistake, 100% my mistake. But the carver put it into the oval, assuming that the registration marks were going to be at the bottom of the print. So anyway, long story short, the carving is done, but we can't use these registration marks. These registration marks, I intended for this, but they don't work. So here's what we're going to do. Let's do it this way so you can see what's going on. Here are that's the design. We all know what the design is. We've seen this before. And here it is. He carved it, basically assuming there's going to be this registration marks, so they're not. So what we do is it's going to have to be printed. Where is it going to go? Just let me think about this for a minute. How am I going to do this? Okay, there it is. We'll do it like this. We'll do it like this. To get the crows right side up in that oval with their head kento, the kento is going to go here. So my first challenge is to find the place on this block where the registration marks are going to fit. And what I'm going to do is I moistened one of last year's spoiled prints to give it the right size. Let's do it this way. Let's use this oval as our key. What am I doing? Upside down. Dave, the top is inside. That's the top. That's the top. That's the top. Okay, it's going to go here. It looks like somewhere around there. We're just going to get it close to start with. Pencil, pencil, my kingdom for a pencil. And instead of cutting this thing, because I don't know clearly where it is, instead of cutting it, I'm going to make a temporary registration mark. Out of a piece of tape. That worked well. Hang on. There she goes. Sorry about that. The other thing about this print is I'll be making only about 50 copies of it. You know, we don't do limited editions, of course, normally. But this is a share certificate. It's for the people who are on our Patreon plan at what we call the share level, share in the fun. And there's a few dozen of them, and they will be getting this. They will be getting this print. So let's do a test here to see if we're roughly close. No pigment, just I want to get the shape. Nice job. I'm just going by the shape, just by the embossment. And it looks okay. It looks good. It looks good. It looks good. So I've got to do that 4 times. 4 times. And then we have a problem here. Some of these things are in the middle of the wood. You can see the 2 on the other side to show. They're in the middle of the wood. So the fact that the registration marks are going to be backwards, it doesn't matter. The paper still fits on the middle. But on this piece of wood, we had a huge knot here. We chose this one specifically. The knot we couldn't use, but around this knot is really super hard, dense wood. So for the part of this print that has the fine lines, we've used the hardest piece of wood in this building. But because it's not in the middle, what it means is the registration mark, to get that lined up here, the registration mark is going to be off on the bench. So when we get to that point, we're going to have to get creative. I'm going to need another piece of wood or something over here on the side of the bench. We'll save that for later. Okay, we've got one lined up. Let me try a couple more. Why not a left corner registration? Because the paper size varies. There's no way I can use part of them on the right and part of them on the left. Where am I here? Well, actually, now you think about it, if I did all of them on the left, is that what you're saying? If I simply used left here then I could use left for the other one. That might be an idea, you know. That might be an idea. Let's think about that for a minute here. Let's think about that. Let's think about that before I go too far. What I've been thinking is to do this. Register on the right, put it in, print this. That's okay. Do that 3 times. For the 4th time, because it's off, I was thinking, because I was just thinking the normal way, put the registration mark out here. But if we did it the other way, if we, for the first time in history here, if we did use left corner registration, if we did that, because it doesn't matter, it's a blank piece of paper. Later on, printing the inkjet, we can move that wherever we want. If I did this, if we printed it on the left, if we put the registration mark here, laid it down, tuk, 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 did this, did this, did this, then when I came to the other one, we could do it this way. Who is this? Who is this? Double chocolate eggs. Who is this? Tom 1060. Okay. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. Now, that's funny, Dave. So I've been doing this how many? 40 years, and that's the thing. When you've been doing it so long, there's no way left registration. It wouldn't have even entered into my mind. That's really interesting. Sugu-san,
何
話見たんですね。だからタルン君が逆さまに掘ったんでしょ。だからこの剣刀じゃなくて、剣刀はここに入れる。頭剣刀ちょうどラッキーですね。1のスペースありますから。この頭剣刀、はい、回って頭剣刀ここで。問題はこのものが右に出してますね。でそうすると右あります。頭剣刀はここです。そう。今考えてますね。これから用意します。でもこの人たちの中に、いや、デイビッド違うやり方ありますよ。もっと簡単にやり方ありますよって言いましたよ。
本当？
どのやり方？
外にしないで。
What I've done, I've just explained to her. I didn't tell her the answer. I told her the situation that we have the problem. It's off. There it is. I'm going to carve one over here to do this. And then I mentioned to her that there's an easy way to do this that somebody here suggested. What do you think it is? So she's thinking right now.
考えてる。
そう考えてる。And she has the same problem as me. She's been doing this for a number of years and wouldn't get outside the box. This is really, really interesting. そう。
本当見つかった？
彼は向こうの人からやってください。僕。あ、そっか。
って感じ？
そう。僕気づかなかったんでしょ。
すごいね。
じゃあ杉さんは？
私どうやるの？
だからこのスペースじゃなくて板の上でやりますよ。
板の上でできる。
そう、板の上でできる。
こうでしょ？
Without using the outside space, you can do it on top of the block.
じゃあでもそれ逆だからね。逆だから逆じゃないようにして。
This is fun. I'm not making fun of her. そう僕も考えなかったよ。だけどやっぱり何年やると決まったんでしょ。そう。We've done it for so many years. We have a standard way of doing this. ちょっとここまで見えますから。
あ、見える。
そう。
おはようございます。
Suguさんね、she's doing test printing today for the dog weasel print. She's doing that one. We finally finished the blocks. She's doing test printing for that.
なんだろう。どうやんの
？You got to see her face. When I tell her, you've got to see her face. This is going to be fantastic.
わかんない。これをここじゃなくて、
はい。
板のこれでできるってことですよね。
そうです。OK、ごめん、本当にごめんね。みんなの前に杉さんが考えない。僕でも全く一緒。だけど私が先話したでしょ。ここでやります。それから向こうがデイビッド、左剣といかがですか？と考えるとここにもしね、左入れてできますでしょ。
デイビッドさん得意なやつ。
そうするとここで左ケット使えば OK でしょ。でしょ。
まあ、左見当慣れるまであれかもしれないけど、でもこれだったら見当いらないもんね。
簡単でしょ本名わかんない。トム1060という人でしょ。
トムさんすごい。
だからいやいつも向こうからのいやいやあると僕チョコレートチョコレート出します。もうそう
素晴らしい、やったーやったー。新しい考えが浮かびましたね。あ、大丈夫。ちょっとついちゃった。
でも本当に面白いよ。だからも
そうした
うすごい経験の長い人はいやリアルですね。でも考えないからもうコンクリートになったよ。
固まってね。そう頭がね柔らかくないからやっぱすごい発想がすごいですね。すごい。
Tom terrific, you know? Okay, it's easy to say, but now I got to do it. I got to try and train my body to do this thing. So, okay, back to the beginning here. Let's take that off. Whatever. There's good stuff and bad quirks about my own personality, but one thing actually I think I'm pretty good at for somebody my age is when it happens around here, when Dave is doing something and it's wrong and they suggest a better way, I actually do handle this, you know. I'm not one of these guys who is so old and fossilized that can't do this. So I'm quite willing to admit that there was a better idea. So we should write on the side of the block that the Kento's on the left. No, we're just going to do it. I mean, the next printer will see this and think, what's going on here? But whatever. Okay, but I got to start again here because I didn't make those marks in the right place. So hang on a sec. Fossil. Clearly I've become a fossil. She said the same thing too. 頭が硬くなるんですね。
でも本当にやってみるといろんな意見聞けていいですねそれ。いろいろ意見が聞けて。
I see what we can do to make this even simpler. We can just line it up with that one, of course. We don't even have to need to calculate where it is. The original registration mark is there, and they must line up on all four. So if we just line this thing up vertically with that registration mark, and all we need to worry about is the vertical position, we're good to go. It gets better and better and better. So in that case, let's move that. Let's line this up here. そう。もうそれから検討簡単でしょ、すぐさん。いや、なぜか、もうありますね。だから、彼が彫った検討、やっぱり OK、合いますね。だからその上に使うと、そのままでしょ。
すごいね。ぴったし。
そう。In fact, this is totally, we just measure up from here and keep it in a straight line, and that is our registration mark. We don't even need to worry about this. I need a ruler. 定規とかありますか？センチ。
長いの？
そこありますね。ごめん。目の前にあったんですね。はい、ごめん。Look at this. Okay, give me a minute with a pencil here to sort this out, and then we can start printing. Actually, talking about backwards registration marks, you know, we have some old blocks here downstairs that do have the marks in the back side, in the wrong side. There's some Senshafada blocks that I got in an auction decades and decades ago. They're in years and years ago. They're in a box in Ome, and they have the registration marks in the wrong side. And we did show you some when we got those Tokaido prints a couple of months ago, the beautiful Tokaido prints from the Meiji era. I showed you the company's website where there's a picture of the old blocks. And those registration marks were on the wrong side. So it was done. Why, I can't understand, but it was done. Yeah, the blocks are square. Okay. Glasses. Oh, crap. 98.5 millimeters. That's going to do it. The other glasses are indeed downstairs, yes. We're not using the famous Japanese green tape here today. That's too thin. I need something with a bit more body to act as a registration mark. So none of the famous green tape today. Okay, sorry about all the futzing around here. As you can see, we're not being microscopically accurate here. I'm just getting getting roughly the thing in place. And once real printing starts, then I will slice them or tape them or slice them or tape them as necessary. And I better remind myself what I'm doing. So this is one here. This is another one. That's another one. Right, okay. And then the last one. This is a tiny bit difficult because it's down in the hole. It's in the carved area. No big deal. Again, once we get going, we will find where it's supposed to be. It's going to be on top of this one, so tell you what, let's cut. Got no knife here. No knife, no knife. Maybe I got a knife. There is a knife. I use my kingdom for a knife. Up and running. Okay. All right, we've wasted ourselves a half an hour. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's get going on this. So at last. Okay, for printing today, when we do the real designs on these, when we do the real printing, we will be using, as I said, Awagami inkjet paper. It's not our normal printing paper. We use the Awagami inkjet because it allows us to do beautiful inkjet printing. If we used Iwano-san's Hosho, we could never do all the delicate fine lines and stuff on this certificate. So it works fine for us for this. So I don't have any of it. We've ordered a bunch of it. It hasn't arrived yet. So what I'm using for a test today, I'm using the print party paper. Those of you who have gone to our print parties, you know what that's all about. It's a clean, simple yellow paper. It's the same paper I use. You see it when I do a peel. The one I peel off the back, that's the paper you see me do with that. So what I'm going to do here first on this now, I've got some paper moistened. I'm going to make a print here with no pigment. I'm just going to put it in here 1, 2, 3, 4 to see if I have a rough registration. In fact, I can do it first with a piece of dry paper. It'll be easier. Let's try this. Oh man, left registration. Ooh. 考えられないよ、左。
左系統ね。
でも本当に、そう、actually, when you think about it, there's something to mention here. I've been struggling for 40 years using a right-handed registration mark. And in an earlier time when I was visiting a printer, he said, "You're left-handed?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's okay. I make prints. Look, here's my prints." He said, No, you can't do this when you're left-handed. And in the traditional method, actually, he's right. When you're carving, whatever, it doesn't make any difference. They can't tell what you've done with your knives. But when you are a printer, let's explain this. Imagine the registration mark in the normal place of the right-hand side. The right-handed printer, his baron is over here on the right. He puts the whatever, the printer puts the paper in the registration marks like this with the right hand, okay? Puts the left hand down, and then they lift up their right hand to grab the baron, and they keep the paper pinned so it doesn't move with the left hand. They then light touch, and then their strokes to print properly, the strong, vigorous strokes are made with the right hand, and it turns out that the way your muscles work, this way, bang, is much stronger than pushing. So they pull. And the fact that the registration mark is here means the paper is pushed into the registration mark. So Dave comes along. His baron is on the left here. He puts it in with the right side, no problem. He puts it in, no problem. He pins it here. And problem number 1, he pins it here, and the paper is free to do this. And it does this lots. With the other printer, when he pins it here, the paper isn't free to move here because it's in the registration mark. So problem number 1 with Dave, he lets go, and the paper frequently moves. So you'll see me doing this all the time. In, pin, and I find a clean place with no pigment to pin with my finger over here while I go and get the tool. So that's problem number 1. Then problem number 2, I touch, I start printing, and my strong strokes are the pull strokes, and it tends to pull it out of the registration marks. So from the classical, traditional Japanese point of view, you don't do this left-handed. That's why the registration marks are on the right. It's not a random choice, it's a real thing. So I've been doing this for 40 years the wrong way, knowing that it's the wrong way, but what am I going to do? I'm left-handed. I can't change my brain. I could have put my marks on the left side, but I knew from years ago that my blocks would be used by other people. And the blocks I carved, Suga-sen's doing today. So I had to just suck it up and print the wrong way. But having said all that, here now today is my chance to do it the real way. In the left, pin with the right, hold with the right, paper doesn't move, get over there and print with my left. And if it turns out when we're printing I can push, it's not going to hurt it. Okay, as I said, you can't see it. I'm getting the shape. You can whatever, there's nothing there yet. There's an embossment mark. The right way, yeah. In again, pin it. I don't need to pin it anymore. So cool. And the two embossments line up very nicely. I can see another problem though. The carver here has left wood all over here. And when I'm doing this now, as I'm rubbing this, to be able to get good power here, I hit here. And you can see there's marks on the back. This has got to be cleaned up. He's left it too close. It's nutty. We talked about this before. The rule that I would like to have is yubi sanbon, 3 fingers, meaning simply you put 3 fingers in there, and between the carved area and your nearest waste wood, you need 3 fingers. And this carver has carved 2, yubi nihon, and I really think that's not enough. That's 2 out of 2. Let's try the third one. The crows. Which way up are we? Height. In the left. In the right. That looks wrong. Did I measure that wrong? It just looks wrong. Hang on a sec. That looks 100% wrong. No, this one's wrong. I put it at 88 instead of 98. Where am I? Crows, crows, crows. Looking good, looking good. And the last one. We're down in the hole, so this is going to need some fooling around at a lighter barren. That's the off registration here. Let's see, that's got to come. It says it's got to come down. Okay, we are good to go. Time for printing. I'm sorry about the waste of time. Time for printing. Okay, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go. What do I need? It's in a blue. I stole this off somebody else's desk this morning. I don't have anything else sorted out here, so just going to quickly steal stuff. We need some water in a cup. This piece of wood as well too, actually, it's a piece of wood that got abandoned years ago. I had this wood years and years and years ago, and it was abandoned because of that huge mark in the middle of one side of it. And it's quite hard. And for the smooth colors, it's going to be actually difficult to print smooth, clean color here because the wood is too hard. Really unusual situation for us. Here's the paste we've settled on in recent years. It's shoji nori. Shoji nori. Shoji nori. And it's, I think it's some kind of methyl cellulose. I don't know. It's also got lots of preservatives in it. The idea is not to go stinky and smelly. They say it's starch-based, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I believe that. Anyway, so they say. I think actually it's far better to use than the traditional rice paste. I know clearly the rice paste or wheat paste that was used traditionally, it's straight carbohydrates. You put them in your paper, and clearly it's food. It's food for all the organisms down to years. So we switched to this, I switched to this decades ago, and it's certainly not traditional, but I have no problem with this. You know, it does the physical job of helping the pigments blend and sort and go into the paper, but it has, for me, the benefit of, I think it's just not food. It's really not something that's going to be edible to microorganisms as time goes by. We're done there. Is it safe for kids? I don't know. This isn't a school product, but it is a household product. They're selling this to the general public, to consumers. And they're mentioning, actually, it's right up front, it says, we have mold stopper here, but it clearly says in red, there is no formaldehyde included. That's the one that the printers here mostly still are using. Sekisan, I told you before, when I went in Sekisan's house down in Hachioji, you open the front door and you think you're going into a hospital. It's like, bang, that hospital smell. And he just dumped formaldehyde into his water. Literally, he had a bottle of formaldehyde. He got it from the yakkyoku, and he needed a license to do this. And I got, in the early days, that same license. He told me what to do. You know, you got to preserve this. Well, here's what you do. So I went to my local pharmacy after he told me. He showed me the empty bottle. I took it to the pharmacy. He said, I can't sell this to you. You got to go talk to the police office first. So I went to the local police box. This is 30 odd years ago. The guy came to the house, saw what I was doing. They came back. They brought me a little piece of paper that is permission to buy formaldehyde. Took it to the yakkyoku, the drugstore. The guy sells it to me. I did that for years and years and years, not thinking much about it. Maybe 10 years I did that. You know. And then gradually realized this is probably not such a good idea, Dave. That's when we switched to the freezer system. We switched to using the freezer. So now, as much as possible now, we use no preservatives in our water here. And we just try and do the work as quickly as possible. These are too close as well, you know. I think I might move that out. Well, we don't need that anymore, so I can cut that off. Soka, that's unneeded. I'm also going to need something. When we're putting the paper on here, because we're printing at the top, here now, the paper's going to flop all over the place. So I need to figure out some kind of support down here. Otherwise, the paper is going to be totally damaged. What do I got here? What can I have? What have we got within reach? The first rule, something you don't have to get up and go and fetch. Okay, here we are. A woodblock happens to be just right behind me. Suki-san over there, she's working on the test printing on the weasel, the cat dog weasel. あの動物はどの動物ですか？
なんだろうね、これドッグ？
まあ、交流祭のオリジナルはドッグ書いてありますが、ドッグかな？
なんか狼っていうかさ、なんかね違う。狛犬みたい。神社の狛犬ってこっちとこっちにワンちゃんが2つついてるやつの。
あれは狐でしょ？
あ、狐。稲荷神社は狐だけど、
はい、
狛犬はなんか犬だな。でもなんかちょっと可愛い。変わった犬だ。狐みたいですね、本当。
Suki-san is thinking that dog, she's doing the test printing now, she's thinking that dog looked perhaps more like a fox actually. I'll just do a couple of sheets here, just to run. Again, this is test printing. This is not... What we're really doing here today is just simply confirming the block set, getting the block set worked out. Then I will prepare 50, 60 sheets of paper properly, get the proper pigments mixed, and then do an edition here. And I guess I'll be doing that on stream. Today's Monday. Probably by Thursday I'll be ready for this. So this is probably going to be the content of the next stream. I'll be doing the main printing on this one. Today we're just simply confirming the blocks, getting it organized. There'll be lots of clearing around the outside still to do. Left-hand side. My God, left-hand. I could get used to this, you know. 慣れるかな、左で。ね、左利きでしょ、慣れるかな、もうちょうどいいよ。ちょうどいいよね。デビッドさんぴったしじゃない、左利きからこうやってこうやるのはね。左を先に。じゃあこれからモカハンカンスタイルが川崎さんにチョンさんに。でチョンさんも左でしょ。あ、チョン君そうだ。そうよ。チョン君も左利きだよ。See this already. みんな左になっちゃう。I just tell him I could get used to this, you know. I could like this left-hand side stuff, you know. Maybe I should make an executive decision here that Mokohankan blocks from now on are going to be on the left. So, だから僕35年逆でしょ。これから杉さんはそう35年間ちょっと左で練習しなきゃいけない。みんな左利きになって。でも両方使えるからいいですよね、その方が。便利。左から使え、左こうやってやって。だから各板に両方掘りますか？全部掘ったら大変なことになっちゃう。でも板が邪魔とか、そういう時はあとどうしてもこ
実目が邪魔だとこっち
今チャットの中に本当に左になったらデイビッドがもっとスリやるかな。そうするとみんなハッピーですよ。そう
そうですね。
That's all. We're not doing any addition here. That'll be enough. I'm missing questions and stuff, I guess. The regulars are doing all the answering, are they? What the paste substitute? We're using shoji paste, the paste that's used in Japan here for pasting paper onto the shoji screens. It's made by the Asahi Paint Company. It's the same stuff. It's available anywhere. If you go into a Chinese grocery or Japanese grocery or whatever in North America, or at least I don't know about Europe, they've got this paste that's in these tubes. It's called Daya Nori, diamond nori. It looks like a toothpaste tube, but it's plastic, and they're green or pink or blue. They make them all in different colors. And that's pretty much essentially the same stuff as this. The generic name for it here is Yamato Nori. And in fact, that's what they've got on the back of this. This is Yamato Nori. In the old days, it was exclusively made from food, from rice. Now it's artificial, which I think in this case is a plus. Well, Sugi-san's worried, but she sees this happening,いや今チャットがじゃあデイビッドがもうこれから左やります。杉さんも気になったかなとか。
困る。練習しないと。でも左利きでできそうな気もしなくもなくもない。練習すれば。
うん、だから僕やったよ。できないことじゃないでしょ。そう。Tom's created a monster. そう。
そうだよ。だからできないこともないかもしれない。試しに左でしょ？こうやってやって。
She's trying it now.
そしたらなんか別にできなくはない。
ですが、杉さん、一番大きい問題2つありますよ。問題1つは、だから普通は右利きのすりでしょ。右に入れて左でピン。外すでしょ、バレン。外した間に動かないですよ。なぜかケントにくっつけてますから。デイビッドはケントに入れて左外す、紙がすぐ動きますよ。フリーでしょ。だから私がいつも入れてここでピンとバレンです。それもう一つのデメリットはグーとケントから引っ張るよ。
なるほど。
だから簡単なものじゃないよ。だから本当に意味ありますよ。
そうですね。右っていうのはね。
そう。この2つです。
確かに。そう、デイビッドさん、バレンは左利きだもんね。バレン持つときは。右剣頭だけど左でバレン引くからやっぱりちょっと違うもんね。こうだもんね。
Yeah, Yamato Nori rice sticking paste. That sounds like the thing. Yeah. So, is there BT and AT to denote time? Before Tom and after Tom. Okay. Okay, the black we're using here now, it's out of a bottle. We buy sumi. It's the sumi that calligraphy teachers will buy. They buy 2-liter bottles of it for their classes. They pour it into every kid's cup, and away they go. The kids do calligraphy. So it's dirt cheap. But there's Sumi and there's Sumi and there's Sumi. The stuff we buy is really top brand, and it really makes a difference. When you buy the cheap stuff, it's gray, it's watery, it's got lumps in it. The stuff we buy is called Kaimei Bokuju. And it's expensive, but it is really, really, really the stuff. It's smooth, clean, rich black. And that does for most of our use, except when we need a really, really rich, thick black, and that's when we buy the concentrate stuff. It's called Nerizumi, and it comes paste in a tube like toothpaste, and it's smooth, dense paste. We put some paste in a cup, tap of water, and away it goes. And I might end up using that for these crows, because I want these crows to be dense black. Today I'm just using the normal cup of Sumi here that's on Ishikawa-san's desk. Don't tell her. Okay, those same 3 test sheets. It may be black enough. How's our time? Shown? My God, we're almost finished. Yeah, I got to get through this. We have a show and tell. I brought up something here. And the show and tell is a reaction to the last show and tell. We'll talk about it when we get to it. After the last stream, I got an email from somebody commenting about something that I said during the stream. And this show and tell will be a reaction to that. More than one email, actually. No, the thunder and lightning gods, Janai, Janai, Janai. Oh, Cameron's here. Cameron-san, sashiburi. The shirt. Oh, the shirt. No, I got no interest in talking about the shirt. Did it stick out of the back? I haven't seen that stream, you know. Actually, I'm supposed to have a look at the stream, but I didn't even see it this time around. This weekend has been so much going on, so I haven't seen the last stream. Dave, talk about the shirt. I guess my shirt was untucked, was it? It's season change here coming up. It's getting warm, so it's time for me to toss out those old shirts and start again with a fresh batch, kind of. Yeah, so it was ripped. I know. I found out when I went to bed. You know, I haven't been careful with it because I don't care. One, and in the winter, I've been wearing those sweatshirts. I'm like, it doesn't matter if the shirts have a hole in them, so whatever. Yeah, it was ripped. I guess, was it? Did it show badly on the stream? I don't know. Dave the Hulk, yeah, whatever. Okay, for the last one here, not the last one, for the third one, we're going to do it in gray, which simply means we'll use a touch of that. I'll take just a touch of this Sumi, put it in the tile, and we'll just grab a touch of it. And we'll use not a strong Baron. We'll switch that out for a weaker Baron, much weaker Baron. Too weak, it won't show against the blue, so we need a bit more. That's better. Okay, let's give this a try. Is Cameron still here? Did he come in and run out? Cameron-san, if you're still here, ton of progress over the weekend. Ton of progress. I've got some stuff that I'll be almost ready to do some testing with you back and forth. Ton of progress here. The main database is ready, the invoice database is ready, the items, the flow now where the order comes in, it automatically goes into the database. We're getting closer and closer and closer, Cameron-san. I stayed up a bit too late last night. One reason I was a bit struggled getting ready this morning, I stayed up too late. I was trying to figure out how to make CSS radio buttons in different colors. And it's built into web browsers, and when you got a set of radio buttons, they're all the same color. But we wanted a set of radio buttons that were traffic lights, red, green, orange. And I got it. Talk about a thing to waste your time on. No, run the orders. I'm nowhere near ready to start to touch the real processing. No, run the orders. Just, no question. No. Bit too dark on the trees, maybe, Kana? The crows should be darker and the trees should be grayer. John, don't give me any trouble about green and blue. I've wrestled with that for too many years. What's with this with the shirt? There was a rip, right? When I took it off last night, I saw that it was ripped. Did I show it all on the stream or something? I don't know. Nanda. Oh, Andy's here. Andy, good morning. Hey, nice to have you today. Thank you very much, Andy was here. The kids behave really nice. You got an interesting son. Their family came at the end of the stream, and the son was, he wants to do stuff, so whatever. So they gave him a little video thing to keep him quiet for a while. He's into trains, and it's really, really cool. He has some videos of interesting trains. We chatted for a few minutes there. Yeah, I know the green and blue. I know the green and blue. My fly was open, and now my shirt's open here. Whatever. I'm showing my COVID bump or whatever it's called. I don't know. I really don't much care. I'm sorry. 先日のストリームタラン君来たんですね。ストリーム終わったところに2人で大きいものをショーンテルするためにベンチから立てて2人で話したんですね。僕ちょっとキャメラに話して、それから逆にいろいろ、それからまたカメラで僕の後ろからカメラが見たんですね。そうですがここにシャツが穴開けた。
穴開いてたの？
そう、古いシャツでしょ。そう。で、冬の間に、いつもスウェットシャツですから関係ないですね。そう。で、今日の話はシャツの話ばっかりでした。そう。
空いてるか大丈夫かって。そんなことみんな気にしてるの。面白い。今日は大丈夫。
Your dad will call it. So your dad would call it a beer belly, but I don't like do that. So that's not me. It's clearly in 1 year it's 7 kilograms, and I'm not happy with this. But what am I going to do? You know. Dave, do I prefer to make YouTube videos or Twitch streaming? Honestly, my taste is YouTube. Not to diss anything here. This is fun. But when I'm done with this, you know, like when I turn this off for half an hour from now, it's going to be like, oh, I got to decompress. You know. With the YouTube videos, it's like making a print. The YouTube videos are weeks of planning, thinking about this, what do I want to say, thinking it, practicing the script, throwing it away, cut that back, practicing it again. It's weeks of planning to make a really nice product. And that's what we do with our whole life here. It's what I'm trying to do right now. So that so much suits my character. I'm not, you know, I don't dance, so I can't stand up and do this on the fly and all that sort of stuff. So for my character, yeah, the YouTube videos, absolutely. And the other thing too is I think of those. I didn't understand this at first when I started making them, but I have really come to realize now actually that those things are going to be around for a while. They're really going to be around for a while, and they are turning out to be interesting for people, and I hope useful for people. So I'm really now more concerned about making better YouTube videos. To me, the Twitch stream, it's here today, gone tomorrow. It's fun, and the contact is fun. It's so much fun that we don't get on the YouTube. But Dave's character prefers the longer lasting, slowly made stuff rather than, it's the same thing. I don't do messaging, I do email. It's my character, Okay, we have one more. Now the other one, I'm not sure if I'm going to use this. This thing, I think, actually, when we do this on the normal paper, and when we surround it, if you imagine this, when we do this on the real paper, and when we surround it with the gift certificate stuff, it is going to look just fine. And I think it'll be okay, because the gift certificate, we use toning in the back here. So, and then we trim the edges. So the natural paper never shows in the finished gift certificate. So I'm thinking at the moment that for this print, we will leave the moon unprinted. And it will be the only part of the finished sheet of paper. This will all be gift certificate printing. That'll be the only part that will be the original paper. And I think it makes more sense to leave that like it is as a glow. But what we've done, I asked Tarankun to carve an extra block for me, a blank background block. And there's not going to be time to do this today, I guess, clearly. But what we would do is we would then get a brush and freestyle, figure out where it is. Let's figure out where it is. We make some guidelines on the block, and that's the target zone. And then the brush would simply come here. Should we try it? I didn't get any pigment ready. Let's try it. Give me 1 minute. Let me go and try and find a brush and find some yellow pigment. Hang on a sec. Sure. 黄色ピグメントありますか？黄色ピグメントあるよ。ある。 これもあるかな。
あった。
Okay. Let's try this. I've just stolen from somebody else's bench over there. That's another thing about the paint we're using. We're using these powder pigments, the traditional powder pigments, and we don't use glue mixed in with them. Unlike the people that are doing like Nihonga painting or something, they mix glue in all their pigments. So when you're finished for the day, you're done. It's all becomes rock and you're finished. But this stuff is just powder. As long as we keep it covered so mold and dust can't fall in, you just pour some more water in and you're good to go. He steals IP and now tools. It's because I don't have anything of my own. Just moisten up the block. They're all my tools anyway. I own the place here. Okay, so what I've done, it's hard here. I've just made some pencil marks here, 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 and here, just to show roughly where I can't draw on the wood. If I leave pencil marks on the wood, that will transfer to the paper. So let's try this. Let's try this. The first one will probably be invisible. Let's keep it low. We're just going to do ate nashi bokashi. Junk paper. Where's my junk paper? Too much yellow, too much. But it's there. Just a touch. Can you see it? I don't even know. I can see it in real life here. I don't know if it's going to show on the camera. There's just a touch or a tint of yellow. The goal on this is to keep it inside, but if it turned out to be bigger than the moon and went under the blue sky, it wouldn't even matter. Here's my guidelines. You see it? I'm not sure I'm going to do this, you know. In fact, my guess at the moment is I probably am not going to do this. Because as I said, I think the background paper, having just that one spot left as the background paper tone, I think that'll be enough to give us a feeling of the glow of the moon there. So almost certainly I think I will not be using this block. whatever, testing is testing. Oh, it doesn't look bad actually. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so that's the test here today. And if you can imagine that, can I try this? Can I cut this out just to see what it looks like? Anybody want to know? So here we go. Oh, it'll be deeper blue, I think. I'll need to make it deeper blue. That's what the next share certificate will be looking like. Definitely needs a deeper blue. Test 1, 2, 3. There's the audio. Test 1, 2, 3. There's still a high-pitched noise. I don't know what to say. This is a good stuff. I bought a new expensive microphone. These are expensive cables. I didn't get cheap stuff. Soka, show and tell. Show and tell, show and tell. Okay. Oh my God, height. Okay, let's do this, let's do this. Where are we? We've got a photo. Let's where's the prints? Here we are. Let's move the camera. This is going to take a minute. I'm going to move the camera so it focuses on the front of what I'm doing here. Okay, is that going to be a good place to do this? I'm using balanced and unbalanced cables. It's all Handycam. It's a pin mic with a little 3.5 plug, and it just goes into the camera. Prints, where's the prints? Okay, as I said, I got an email the other day after the show and tell. I got an email, someone disappointed about what I had said. When we were showing the screens there, I talked about them and I mentioned that it wasn't the standard type of ukiyo-e type printing. I mentioned that it was done in Kyoto, I forget what I actually said, I still haven't gone back and listened to it. But I think the key point was, I said I didn't like it. I really don't like that kind of printing. We print here with the ukiyo-e style, rubbing on the back of the sheets of paper. That's going to be useful, isn't it? And that one was done with opaque, whatever, we'll take them out of the package, don't worry about it. The screens we saw were done on dry paper, heavy opaque pigment, and it's just not a kind of printing I like. The end result was to make a beautiful screen. But I guess I spent too much time telling people why I didn't like it. I'm sorry, whatever. Why have I got it in my collection? Because we want to learn about wood-block printmaking. What I like is this. We've seen a couple of these before, but it's time to show a couple of them in nice close-up. Hi, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is what I like. This is what I like. Small scale, carefully carved, beautiful rich pigments that go deep inside the paper. And it's the paper that is the beauty of the object. The thing the other day that we looked at, it wasn't all about the paper or the pigments. It was all about the artist and reproducing what he had done and bringing the picture to people. Nothing wrong with that. I get it. Nothing wrong with that. But my thing, what we do here mostly, of course the art is important. Of course the picture is important. But what we want is the beautiful, beautiful object. And it could almost be random abstract stuff and it wouldn't matter because it's the thing itself that is beautiful. Get the light here and get an embossment or something. These are Meiji era reproductions of Surimono from the 1840s. These are from 1990 or so. 1890 reproductions of images from about the 1840s. And this is the stuff that Dave likes. Some of these came up last night on a Yahoo auction, which is why I was thinking about them. I've got the link here. 11 of these prints came up last night on a Yahoo auction, and Dave was thinking he would really like to get these, but unfortunately, wasn't possible. I was hoping we'd get a bit of light here. There's lots and lots of embossing on these prints. We've got to be able to find the light. Hang on a second here. Let me find a better place. Hang on a sec. No, they're all freshly carved. The original blocks were long gone. The original blocks were blocks for Surimono prints. It was all very, very short run stuff. The prints were only made in batches of a few dozen. So the blocks were long gone. The blocks were carved, used, and then instantly tossed out. This is pushed in from the back. Yes, this is matcha for grinding tea. Here's the handle. This thing goes in there, turns it round and round and round, and this is the green tea that has come out. And it would have been commissioned by a poetry group, and the poems either have something to do with the season. There's a camellia, I think, here, so it's January, it might be New Year. No, this is the handle. This square thing goes in there, and this is the handle that you use to turn round and round and round. There are two stones. This is a stone, and this is another stone. And it's for grinding tea. And it's not 3D almost. It is 3D for sure. We've seen some of these before on the stream. But I want just as an antidote to what we saw yesterday, those large, large, large prints. This is, of course, Ebisu and Daikoku, the partners, two of the lucky seven gods. Well, I don't think he's dancing. I think he's just whatever, happy, whatever. This is the guy. This is Ebisu here, and he's got his famous. He's got his fish, the bream, the tai, and this is Daikoku with his magic hammer and his bag of loot. And this is all carved. And I myself made my own reproduction of this print many years ago. So it's not one block which is reprinted many times. What you're seeing here, it was all carved on a single piece of wood. And I myself actually did the same thing when I carved. These are all lucky symbols. I forget what they are. There's cloves, there's a scroll representing knowledge, another bag representing riches, the cloak of invisibility. I forget what they were. Oh, the She-Hole, the four north, south, east, west. It's not an anagram, it's a homophone of I don't know, treasure. So they're all ancient symbols representing good stuff. These are the genre called Surimono. They're all created by poetry groups back in the 1830s and 40s. And all the prints I'm showing you right now, they are in our collection. They are already photographed. They're already up on the collection in very, very, very high resolution. I didn't prepare a link. I don't remember the number. Perhaps somebody can find it. I'm sorry. If you go to the Mokuhankan collection, look for a group and look for the Akashi Surimono. There, somebody's got this. Thank you. Lost for words. Thank you very much. Thank you. And what are the poems about? I don't have a clue, and basically nobody here has a clue. They are mostly of the type that's called kyoka, and they were satirical poems, and they used lots of wordplay of 1830, whatever wordplay was going on in the 1830s. And we, of course, we don't know anymore what the jokes were about. So people who can read the calligraphy, I can't do it, people who can read the calligraphy can translate the words. They can find what most of the characters are, but that doesn't tell them anything about what the nuance of the poetry was. And some people have tried this. If you look up some of the reference books on these old surimono, there's a guy called John Carpenter, a researcher at some university over there, and he has spent a lot of time and effort trying to translate these. But at the end of the day, still, like somebody here said, nobody knows what the jokes were in 1830. So we can get close, but this is Hokusai, young Hokusai. It's just a little insect. No nightmare here. I think it's a seni, I'm not quite sure. This is young Hokusai. And it's detailed, you know. I mean, there's hairs on the legs. Again, I know, because I've reproduced this one. I stole this one years and years ago. Cool little insect. This one's famous, another crow. This is Harunobu Gakute. And there's embossing inside the crow. I don't know if we can catch the light and see it. I don't know. The problem with doing the show and tell in this room, when I do this at my desk, there's a strong light shining on the desk, and I can show you the shininess. In this room, we've designed it so that the light is flat and wide and white all over the place. So there's almost no way I can find an angle here and show you the shininess on this crow. This is our printer's room. It's designed to be as flat illumination as possible. Yes, this is the one I'm showing you now is the one from 1895 or so. There was a version back in the 1830s or 40s, and we have made a new one. I've carved it, and it's in our catalog. And one last one, which is a fun one for me. One last one. This one. You can maybe get the shininess. It's silver on the mountain. Show. You can maybe see it. There's silver on the mountain. And the silver here is oxidized. It's a copper, and we oxidized it. And there's embossing. It's hard to see on the sky. And this is on paper from 1775. I made this. This is one that I made. This is Dave's reproduction you're looking at. I carved this. We have the original here side by side. And this is my carving. And I got some paper from 1775. I was in a book dealer shop one day, just at the same time when he was behind the counter, cutting up a book to sell the individual sheets, one by one by one. We didn't fight, because, you know, I was a customer of his, but I let him know what I thought about this. And he says, whatever, Dave, I can't do it. I can't sell the book. It's a 50-page book. If I sell it for $5,000, no one's going to buy it. But if I cut it apart and sell each individual print for $200, I make a ton of money. The customers are happy because they've got an old original print. The designer's happy because his prints are out there in the world. He says happy, 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 happy. And yet a book was totally destroyed. And as he was cutting it apart, he cut it all apart, and between each folded page, where you could see from the left and see from the right, because the paper was so thin, the original book binders back in the 1770s had put an empty sheet of paper in between each folded one. And I've told this story before. As he was cutting them apart, he was cutting the prints up to put in his shop, and he took the empty sheets of paper and he put them in his garbage can beside his bench. And I happened to be there. I was in his shop that day. So you know where the story's going. I said and he said, yeah, okay, whatever, it's just going in the garbage. So I picked out of his garbage can 20, 30, 40 sheets, I don't remember how they were, of 1775 washi. And at the time I had made a reproduction of this print, and I was making it on normal modern paper, but just for fun, I made 2 copies on the 1775 paper. And I'm telling you this now, so this is sort of documented, but if this wasn't documented, if this was going out into the market, what is this? Someone would look at it and think, oh yeah, we can tell by the paper, this is old paper. This is not one of those modern reproductions. You have a real print from the old days. This is a real good one. I'm telling you this story, so it's okay. But if I didn't tell anybody, there's nobody on this planet who could tell that this wasn't an old print, because it's printed on the old paper. And back in the Meiji time, when the Westerners were in here buying all kinds of prints, the Great Wave or whatever, the printers of those days still had access to quote-unquote old paper. So lots of those Meiji reproductions done on old paper are now passing as original Edo prints. And no one can ever, 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 ever tell. Do your carbon analysis, do whatever you want. You can't tell. It's even got wormholes. The pigments here are metal. It's this is a bronze, and that's nickel silver. And maybe somebody can do some kind of analysis of them and tell me that that was nickel silver from 1830 or nickel silver from 1970. I don't know, no idea. Anyway, there we are. Okay, it's been a bit of a funky stream today. So what's going to be happening now almost certainly for the next stream? Today's Monday. I'll be gone for 3 days. Not gone. I'll be here working. During those 3 days, I'll be doing a bunch of stuff, and I will prepare a normal printing stream. So the next stream, Thursday, will almost certainly be up here, but properly prepared. The blocks will be ready, the moist paper will be ready, the pigments will be ready, and we will be doing a more organized printing stream. And that's plus minus. You'll see the real printing, but the minus is you're going to see the same thing again and again and again and again. Today we've mixed it up all the way along. On Thursday, you're going to watch me print that blue 50 times, which may or may not be interesting. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm done. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in a few more days on Thursday. Thanks very much for hanging out with all of our trials and tribulations here. Okay. So I'm going to say goodbye. Can we move this thing? I don't know. We'll probably break the system if I move it. There she is. Okay. Hey, it's here. Yeah, okay, good problem. Okay. Thank you very much. See you next time, guys. Domo. Thank you. And special thanks to Tom1060. I tell you what, do I know who you are? Send me an email. Let's talk about this. I can maybe send you something here. Thanks very much. Okay, bye-bye.